Okay, we'll now wrap up problem 9-2A. Again, it's on page 447. We've already taken a look at the straight line method and units of production or units of output method. We're now going to take a look at our accelerated method, which is called double declining balance method. Now, an accelerated method means we're going to take more depreciation in early years of the asset's life and less in later years. We have to go through a few steps here. Step 1, we want to calculate the straight line rate as follows. We'll divide 1 by the useful life in years. So if the useful life in years is 3 years, it's 1 over 3. Useful life in years is 4 years, it's 1 over 4. If the useful life in years is 5 years, it's 1 over 5, and so on into infinity, I guess. Although you'll never have an asset last that long. Okay, step 2, no matter what that rate is, we always double it. So if we multiply it by 2, in other words. So if it's 1/3, we say 1/3 times 2 and get 2/3. If it's 1/4 or 1 over 4 for 4 years, we multiply that by 2 and get 2/4, which of course is 1/2. If it's 5 years, we've got 1 over 5 as a straight line rate, times 2 is 2/5. Okay, now, we're going to use that rate. Where some people mess up on this one, they want to go ahead and subtract out the residual or salvage value in the beginning. We're not going to do that here. We're going to do that as the very last step. So step 3, for every year until the final year, we'll multiply the rate from step 2 times cost minus all prior year's depreciation to get the current year's depreciation expense. So let's go to our problem and try this out. Okay. Well, first we want to do our rate. Our rate is equal to 1 over the useful life in years, which is 1 over 3. And remember, we're going to double that rate, so times 2. 0.666667 or it's equal to 2 divided by 3. Same thing either way. Alright, that rate's not going to change. Again, it's calculated as 1 over the useful life in years times 2. We always double it. That's where the name double declining balance comes in. Okay. So what we're going to do is take our depreciable balance, is what they're calling it, cost minus all depreciation already taken times the rate. Well, in 2014, we haven't taken any depreciation yet. Our cost is $90,000. So our annual depreciation expense would be equal to our cost times our rate. And we get $60,000. Now our depreciable balance, let's go back over here. What did we say? In every year until the final year, multiply the rate from step 2, which is our 2/3 or 0.66667, times cost minus all prior year's depreciation. Let's go back. Okay, so here we want to say cost $90,000 minus any depreciation already taken, which was last year's $60,000. That leaves us $30,000 here. What's left to be depreciated? Okay. So our yearly depreciation expense would be equal to our $30,000 times our rate, $20,000. What you could do, you guys, you could say 90,000. If you're doing it times the fraction, say 90,000 times 2, the top half of 2/3. 90,000 times 2 is 180, divided by the bottom half of the fraction, or 3. 180 divided by 3 gets you 60,000. Okay, now to get this number, you said your original cost, $90,000, minus last year's depreciation, gets you $30,000. If you multiply by the rate as a fraction, you'd say 30,000 times the top half of the fraction, or 30,000 times 2, gives you 60,000. Divided by 3, the bottom half of the fraction, gets you the 20,000. Now we're in the final year. Final year things are a little bit different. So let's look at our notes again. And you guys should refer to these in working this problem. You've probably been looking at them already. In the final year of the asset's useful life, you subtract all prior year's depreciation and the residual or salvage value. That shouldn't have got value in there twice. From the original cost to determine the final year's depreciation. In the last year, you do not multiply by the rate. So in the final year, we'll take cost minus all depreciation already taken minus the residual or salvage value, and that's our depreciation in the final year. We do not multiply by the rate. So our depreciable balance, okay, is going to be equal to our original cost, $90,000, minus depreciation from year 1, $60,000, minus depreciation from year 2, $20,000, and that equals $10,000 left to be depreciated. We can't depreciate it though below its residual value. The residual value is $6,000. So that's going to be equal to $10,000 minus our residual value of 6, gives us depreciation expense in the final year of 4. So we need to put these numbers in the chart. 2014, $60,000, 15, $20,000, and 16, $4,000. 60, 20, and 4. Now we want to total each of the three methods. Equals that one plus that one plus that one, and that gives us 84,000. Let's do the same thing here. Equal to 2014 plus 2015 plus 2016. Look at that, we get 84,000 again, and 60,000 plus 20,000. You can probably already see this one, plus the 4,000. So no matter which method you use, you guys, over the life of the asset, you're going to take the same amount of depreciation, 84,000, no matter which method you use. And that 84,000 is your cost minus your residual value. So that total should be cost minus residual value. Should come back to that on all three. Now that's instruction 1. Instruction 2, which method yields the highest depreciation expense for 2014? Well, let's go, we'll just look at the chart. 2014, which method gives us the highest depreciation expense? 28,000 under straight line. Units of production or units of output, 37,380. Of course, the highest is double declining balance at 60,000. Method that yields the most total depreciation over the 3 years. Well, over the 3 years, they're all the same. All yield the same overall. It's not how I would have worded that, but there we go. Now, let's see how we scored. That's what you're looking for. Now, let's talk about the three methods. Straight line is used. It's the most common method used by businesses because it's the easiest to calculate. But it's probably best used for buildings or assets that's declining in values very little over time, or assets that are depreciated over a number of years. Buildings are typically depreciated over 40 years. Units of production, maybe some equipment, factory equipment, or anything, maybe tractors accumulate hours, anything where the more we use it, the more the decline in value. And we can track maybe hours, something like that, some type of units of output. Double declining balance is best for assets that have a big decline in value in the early years, less of a decline in value in the later years, and repairs tend to go up in age. To me, that fits automobiles and computers very well. But okay, you guys, after working that one with me, you shouldn't have any problem with problem 9-2B, your homework problem. If you do, let me know. Good luck.